Hello, I'm Philip Hughes and I teach research methods. I believe you or your students have a topic that they want to research, something that they want to turn into a full research project, and this video has been made to assist you. Perhaps the topic has arisen from something that you've observed, something you want to understand better. Or perhaps you had a question that you wanted to answer. Perhaps there's an area of your work that you want to explore. You begin by analysing your topic. What are the elements in it? What may be some of the causes for what you are seeing? What might be additional influences? What exactly is it that you want to examine? Let's explore an example. You've noted that there are many young people who do not continue connection with your church after they come to the end of their time at youth group. You want to investigate why some drop out at that time. You may do some initial analysis. Are young people giving up the church, or are they also giving up the Christian faith? Are they leaving with their friends, or are they leaving their friends behind? How are their families viewing this? Do they have any influence? You may well begin with some descriptive research. Just how many youth are leaving? What are their ages? Are there similar numbers of males and females? Are those with higher levels of education, or those going on to university, leaving, whereas those who are taking other jobs are not, or vice versa? You might have some internal conversations with some of the youth, but remember that the presenting reasons that they give, the fact that they're not interested, for example, or the fact that they've got other priorities, will not necessarily give you what are some of the underlying factors or causes. And indeed, it's necessary to do some analytical research in order to get a good article or a good thesis. So what are the causes of them leaving? The questions will require you to look rather deeper, to examine perhaps some theories about what young people in contemporary society, in order to fully explain what you are seeing. There could be a range of factors. There's the youth themselves, their values, their personalities, their beliefs. There's the youth peer groups. And what about the general youth culture and the way that they are absorbing that, perhaps through school, perhaps through social media or whatever? There's the family processes of socialisation and family expectations. And then there could be also church factors. Is it that the church is not communicating particularly well with younger people? The process of scientific understanding begins with the analysis of a situation. It involves the identification of general patterns which apply to many contexts. Theories are possible patterns which may be relevant to your situation. And what you are doing as you read the literature is to begin to look for potential theories that you might test that might be relevant to your context. A major example for scientific endeavour overall has been Newton's discovery of gravitation. In relation to human behaviour, it's not been quite as easy to determine what the patterns that are relevant are, to determine human-related theories. But there are some very important general theories that need to be considered in many situations related to human behaviour. Piaget's theory of cognitive development, and it's been applied to religion by James Fowler, and it's well worth looking at. It's been contested. There are certainly ways in which the theory has been modified over time, but the basic ideas of development still stand. There's been various theories of process of development of human thinking. That the idea, for example, that human thinking overall has gone from a magical stage to a scientific stage over millennia. And amongst those ideas are theories of secularization. And again, there's a lot of debate about them. There's a lot of modifications that have been added by various people over time to those sorts of theories about human development, the development of human thinking. But they're worth looking at. There's the theory that human beings seek what they perceive to be rewards and avoid costs. And that's been applied to religion by Stark and Bainbridge, and has been a very influential theory, particularly in the United States. But again, may well have broad implications for a lot of human behaviour, and can perhaps explain something of what is going on with your youth as they leave the church. Do these theories apply then? Are youth leaving the church because their cognitive development leads them to think in different ways to those ways that are found in the church? Are they leaving because of the general patterns of secularization which are occurring in our general culture? Are they leaving because they see no specific benefits in religion? For example, they find community in other ways. There's another interesting theory, that people connect where they feel that they are accepted. They connect most easily with people with similar values and similar interests, similar ideals. And young people are more likely to leave if their values and interests are not in accord with those that they find in the church. Having identified some possible theories that may be relevant to your particular situation, then you need to think about the testing and critique of those theories. Read widely about that too, because most major theories have been critiqued in a variety of ways. And then think through how the theory might be tested. All good theories are falsifiable. Basic principle that was enunciated by Karl Popper some years ago. A good theory is no good unless it's falsifiable, unless you can prove that it's not correct in some situations, that it's not applicable. And the ease with which you can do that actually determines whether the theory is good or not. So work out how you might test and how you might come to conclusions that the theory isn't correct. So we come now to your research question. You need to formulate a guiding research question that's rooted in the literature and in the theories that you have identified. The research question must be answerable in 3 to 4 years of research. It must be doable. And that means that you must be able to express it in such terms that you can see how the various elements can be measured and therefore how conclusions can be reached in relation to it. The research question must be clear, without ambiguities. And it's best if you limit the research question in terms of time and place, and scope in general. Even though you're referencing more general theories, most research will be about applying a particular theory to a particular context or situation. And you need to be clear about what that context or situation is. Here's an example of a research question. Are some young people exiting Pentecostal churches in Melbourne at the end of their teenage years, that is 18 to 21 years, because their levels of cognitive thinking and or their values are not in accord with what they find in their churches? Note within that question, we've got a very specific scope. We've got a reference to some particular theories, and they're expressed in ways that we may well be able to test. But we actually then need specific hypotheses to help us to work out the elements of testing. One of those hypotheses then will be that young people who leave have different levels of cognitive thinking to those who remain in the churches. Another specific hypothesis might be that young people who leave place higher importance on values of success than on people who stay, who value most making a difference in the lives of others. So you need to work out the specific hypotheses, which should then be quite clearly related to your general research question, that will give you those particular areas that you will examine in the course of your research. Having designed your research question, you can begin to think of the methodology which you will use to give you good, clear answers to your research question and allow you to test those hypotheses. Once you have your research question, your hypotheses and your methodology, you have a good research project.